Hey everyone, let's talk about something, well, something huge. What happens after we die? I mean, it's pretty much the oldest question, right? Today, we're going to dive into the answer found in Islamic tradition, a really fascinating concept that bridges the gap between our world and whatever comes next. We spend a lot of time thinking about our life here on Earth and about the final destination, heaven or hell. But what about the time in between? I'm talking about that period right after our soul leaves the body, but way before the resurrection and the final day of judgment. What on earth happens in that vast, mysterious gap? Well, Islamic tradition actually has a name for this intermediary state. It's called the Barzakh. It's an Arabic word, and believe me, it holds the key to unlocking this whole mystery. Okay, so what exactly is the Barzakh? To really wrap our heads around its spiritual, metaphysical meaning, we actually have to start with its physical meaning first. And the Quran uses this in such a brilliant way to help us picture it. It's really clever. So check out this analogy. It's just fantastic. Physically, the word Barzakh literally means a barrier. Think of a strip of land that separates two different seas, right? It keeps their waters from mixing. And that physical image, wow, it's the perfect metaphor for what it means spiritually, an impassable barrier separating our world, the world of the living, from the world of the afterlife. So to put it all together, the Barzakh is this intermediary realm, this state of being. It kicks in the very moment the soul permanently leaves the body, and it lasts all the way until the trumpet sounds for the resurrection. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, but where does this idea actually come from? It's a great question. While the Quran mentions the term Barzakh in this metaphysical way only once, scholars have found all these other powerful, indirect clues sprinkled throughout the text that really build the case for this in-between state. For instance, there's a verse that mentions some individuals being punished twice before the final punishment. So if the first punishment happens here, in this life, where does the second one happen? Well, scholars argue it has to be in the Barzakh. Then there's another verse that talks about a lesser punishment, again, suggesting there's a stage of consequence before the day of judgment. In this next one, this really drives the point home. This verse about the people of Pharaoh is maybe the most explicit of all the indirect proofs. Get this. It says the fire is shown to them morning and evening, but it's only on the final day that they will be made to enter the punishment. So, think about it. If they aren't in hell yet, but they're clearly experiencing some form of torment after they died, where are they? They have to be in the Barzakh. So to really grasp why the Barzakh is so important, it really helps to just zoom out. Let's look at the big picture and see where it fits into the soul's entire journey, from the very beginning to its final eternal state. The whole journey can be seen in 5 key stages. First, there's pre-birth, after the soul is created but before it's in a body. Second is right now, the wakeful state, soul and body united. Third is the sleeping state, which is described as a temporary separation of the soul. That's actually why sleep is called the brother of death. Fourth is the Barzakh, the permanent separation of soul and body. And finally, stage 5, the soul is permanently reunited with a brand new body for the afterlife. All right, now here's where things get really mind-bending. Time, it just doesn't work the same way in the Barzakh. It's like a totally different dimension. So what does that mean? Well, for a righteous soul, thousands of our years could fly by in what feels like a blink. But for a soul that's in torment, a single day could feel like an eternity. The duration is all relative to the soul's experience, not our earthly clocks. Wild, right? So, we've defined what the Barzakh is, and we've seen where it fits. But let's get down to the bottom line. Why does this concept matter so much? What is its ultimate significance? There's this profound saying that just gets right to the heart of it. The experience in the grave, in the Barzakh, isn't just a waiting period. It is considered the very first station of the afterlife. And it acts as a direct preview, a direct indicator of what's to come. A good experience here suggests a good outcome later, and a difficult one, well, it suggests the opposite. And that's the key, right? That's why it's called the first station. It's not some neutral waiting room or a spiritual limbo. It's the very beginning of the afterlife, where the consequences of our earthly lives begin to unfold immediately. Which brings us to a final thought. The very name Barzakh means barrier, and any barrier implies there's something on the other side. This state is, by its very nature, temporary. So the real question becomes, what happens on that great day when the barrier is finally lifted, the trumpet sounds, and all souls are brought forth from this intermediary world? Now that is something to think about.